G'day all you wonderful people, welcome to Adventure Together. My name's Al and welcome to part 2 of resupplying on the AT. Now in the first video I went over some places that I think you should consider sending yourself a resupply box, and in this video I'm going to break down the first 1200 miles of the AT and give you a possible strategy for you to resupply for the first 1200 miles. So firstly, setting out from Amicalola or Springer Mountain, how much food should you take with you? When you first start on the AT, you're going to be doing very low miles. I would recommend not busting out the gates on Springer Mountain trying to do 20-mile days. To keep it short in the beginning and get your body used to hiking. So going with a strategy of doing 10-mile days to start with, I would say start off with 4 days worth of food if you're doing the Amicalola Falls State Park approach trail, and start off with 3 days worth of food if you're starting from Springer Mountain. For me, I started off at Amicalola Falls State Park with 4 days worth of food, which was the perfect amount to take me to mountain crossings at NEEL Gap. When I got to mountain crossings at NEEL Gap, I had sent myself a resupply box with 2 days worth of food in it. Now 2 days worth of food was the perfect amount to get me to UNICOI Gap, where I hitchhiked into HIAWASSEE and went to the Ingalls there and got myself a 5-day resupply. When you get to HIAWASSEE, have a look at the mileage you're doing and look how long it's going to take you to get to the next resupply point, which is the Nantahala Outdoor Centre, also known as the NOC or NOC. If you're going slightly slower, then you might need 6 days worth of food to get you to the NOC. But if you're going faster, you might only need 4 or 5 days worth of food. Personally, like I said, I took 5 days. When I got to the NOC, I had a resupply box waiting for me, and that resupply box had 2 days worth of food in it. That 2 days worth of food that I picked up in the NOC was the perfect amount to get me to the Fontana Village Resort and Marina, where I picked up my next resupply box that had 6 days worth of food in it to get me through the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. As mentioned in the previous video, that resupply box also had my winter gear in it, so I was sending myself a box there anyway. When you get out of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, I would recommend that you pick up a resupply box at Standing Bear Farm. From Standing Bear Farm, I would recommend that you have 2 days worth of food in that resupply box that would take you to Hot Springs, where you can resupply at $1 General. Now from Hot Springs, you will only need, depending on the pace that you're walking, either 4 or 5 days worth of food to take you to ERWIN, Tennessee. ERWIN, Tennessee has a whole range of places that you can get a great resupply, and I would recommend that when you're there, that you pick up 3 days worth of food that would take you to Roan Mountain. Depending on the pace that you're walking, I would recommend picking up either 4 or 5 days worth of food at Roan Mountain $1 General, and that would take you all the way to Damascus, Virginia. When you get to Damascus, you can go to the Food City, which is a short walk from trail just outside of town, and you can pick up 4 days worth of food. By this point in the trail, you should be hitting higher mileage each day, and this resupply should take you to a point where you could hitchhike into either Marion or Atkins. Atkins is the closest place to trail, and it does have a $1 General. If you need a bit more variety in your resupply, then you can go further out to Marion, which has a Walmart. When you're there, I would recommend picking up 5 days worth of food that will take you through to Pearisburg, Virginia. Pearisburg is a popular place for hikers to stop off on trail, and they have a food city, and just outside of town they also have a Walmart. But that Walmart takes about an hour to walk to from trail, so most people just resupply at the Food Lion. Depending on your hiking pace, I would recommend picking up a quite large resupply here, 5 to 6 days worth if you want to do a long carry, which would take you all the way to Daleville, Virginia, where you could pick up a 3-day resupply at the Walmart, which is a short walk from trail. That 3-day resupply will take you to a place where you can hitchhike into Glasgow, Virginia, and get yourself a 3 to 4 day resupply. That 3 to 4 day resupply will take you all the way to Waynesboro, Virginia, where a lot of people stay at Stanimals Hostel. When you're there, you can resupply at a Walmart or a $1 General and get yourself the 6-day resupply that you will need to get you through the Shenandoahs. Now, if you have a larger budget and you don't want to carry a huge resupply on your back, you have another option, and that is to resupply in the park. There are a few little shops that you can resupply at inside the Shenandoahs, but it will be expensive and your choices will be limited. Just think of resupplying at a convenience store rather than at an actual supermarket. Another option for resupplying in the Shennies and not carrying a huge 6-day resupply on your back when you first start out is to hitchhike out of the park and get a resupply halfway through. The problem with this is if you are re-entering the park through the toll booths, you will have to pay the entrance fee. Whereas if you hike in through the hiking trails, your permit for the Shenandoahs is free. When you leave Shenandoah National Park, you will reach Front Royal, which is a short hitchhike from trail. Front Royal is a large town that has a great choice of resupply options, and I would recommend that you either take a 3-day resupply and pick up a resupply box in Harper's Ferry, or you take a 5-day resupply that will take you all the way to Waynesboro in Pennsylvania. Personally, I did a 4-day resupply option and hiked all the way from Harper's Ferry to Waynesboro in Pennsylvania in just 1 day, and you can watch that video just linked up here. But for those of you who don't want to torture yourself, it is roughly 2 days from Harper's Ferry to Waynesboro in Pennsylvania. And from Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, you will only need 4 days resupply to get you to Duncannon in Pennsylvania. And in Duncannon, you can pick up a resupply large enough to take you all the way over that 1200 mile marker. Now, I promise you, by mile 1200, you will not even need this strategy breakdown for your resupplies. You will be a master in working out where you need to resupply and how long for. But for those of you who are starting off and you're worried about where to resupply, this was just a breakdown on a possible resupply strategy. Be variable and be adaptable. You need to be able to adapt to whatever your hiking pace is. So this was only just a rough outline of a possible strategy. Now, as I mentioned, this is part 2 of a 2-parter on resupplying on the Appalachian Trail. If you've not watched the first part already, please follow the link in the description to go and watch that now. Also in the description, I'm going to put a list of mile markers for each place that I've mentioned and an address for sending resupply boxes to. If you've got a different strategy to the one that I've outlined, then feel free to share that in the comments down below. If you like this video, please leave a like, please consider subscribing, and share this video to anyone that you know that likes camping, hiking and adventure travel. And for now, that's it from me. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.